Could be the best player in the world. Here's Dame.
KD healthy could very well be the best player in the NBA. Nobody can guard him. Like, if he's healthy, he's shooting threes off the dribble. He's pulling up off the dribble. He's posting up. He can get to the rim. You can't block his shot. The way he handles the ball, the way he moves at that size. Who are you going to put on him? When healthy, I think at this moment he could very well be the best player in the league.
It's all about offense, though. He doesn't defend like LeBron at his peak, doesn't pass like LeBron, doesn't lead like LeBron, not as physically sturdy as LeBron. But the NBA players love other players' offense. You know what Kevin Durant really is to me? He is Wilt. That's his comp. Remember, Wilt started with the Globetrotters, then went to the Warriors, then went to the Sixers, then went to the Lakers. In an era, players were not mobile. He was. That's Kevin Durant. 1 year at Texas. Then he goes to Oklahoma City. Then he goes to the Warriors. Now he's at Brooklyn. He is Wilt. He is an unstoppable offensive force. He's flaky. Great player, but never really seen as the face of the league. The personality doesn't work. In the end, he's going to have some titles, but you always wonder, why weren't there more with Wilt? Kobe, of course, has always been, and this one's not even arguable, Kobe is MJ. Intense, similar size, actually had the same coach in the same system, killers, winners. They were all about the W. They were all about winning. They were confrontational. They get in your face. LeBron doesn't. LeBron, of course, is magic. Makes everybody better. Probably the best passing big I've ever seen in my life. They're great businessmen. Everybody likes kind of playing with them. Everybody's best years were around Magic. Everybody's best years are around LeBron. Lots of finals, win some, lose some. Both are number one picks. Massive pressure on both. First night in the league. Westbrook is Iverson. Hyperspeed. It's like blur. That's what they should put on the back of Westbrook's jersey. Blur. Intense. You got to kind of build a team around them specifically for what they are. They're iconoclastic. Don't get along with all teammates. Very difficult to play for them. First ballot Hall of Famers. But a lot of credibility among players because they're just so intensely, naturally gifted. But KD's kind of Wilt. I mean, for all the greatness of Wilt, we've talked about this before, Wilt not only scored 100 points in the game, and he played for a long time. He scored 80 several times. He scored 70 a dozen times. You couldn't stop Wilt. The average center was 6'8". He was 7'1". Wilt would be great today. Wilt would be great today. But he's only 7th all-time leading scorer. Why doesn't he have more titles? Because Wilt, like KD, was a wanderer. He's just kind of wandering through life, enjoying life, doing a bunch of stuff in life, happy with a lot of things in life. Sometimes felt a little tortured, a little flaky, great, often argued the best player in the league, but you never really felt like he was the face of the league because you couldn't really depend on Wilt all the time. Bill Russell was a rock. You could depend on him. Kareem had the skyhook forever. Magic, Michael, Kobe, even Shaq and his craziness, you felt like you could build the league around them. Not really with Wilt and not really with KD. So, first of all, I always kind of laugh when players talk about best player in the league. Yeah, KD's unstoppable. How come we never talk about leadership and health and defense and making others better? It just gets lost sometimes on players. And secondly, there's all these comps for everybody. And this is not a shot because Wilt is the first superstar I ever saw. I was on a bunk bed, top. Blazers, Lakers. Wilt was old. He had a headband. The Blazers couldn't stop him. He was like the first great player. I had newspaper clippings around my room. I think Wilt was eventually replaced by like Elmore Smith for the Lakers. You can't. It's like a trivia question. But KD can't stay healthy, and he's not really dependable. And I think he's going to end up much like Chamberlain, which is a lot of titles, but not as many as we think he should garner. Joy of the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, we have a little more spice in the Ravens-Steelers rivalry.
What happened?
Former Steelers lineman Alejandro Villanueva signed with the Ravens on Tuesday.
That was kind of an interesting signing, wasn't it? Like out of the blue.
Out of the blue. And he apparently took a shot at a former teammate, Juju, when he discussed how he preferred to block for run-heavy teams like the Ravens instead of ones that are more focused on passing.
It was incredibly challenging that we knew we had to go with these game plans that involved passing the ball potentially the entire game. The mentality, when you have a balanced offense or when you run the ball, it's obviously better for the offensive line. I'm assuming it's not as fun for the wide receivers because they're not getting all the catches. They're making the TikToks and they're having fun on their social media.
Oh boy,
the shade. Well, perhaps they weren't running the ball because you had the 31st ranked run blocking offensive line in the league. Might make it a little more difficult.
Well, offensive linemen would always rather run block than pass block.
Yeah, that's not dramatic news.
Yeah, that's not. And the Steelers, which ran the ball brilliantly since Le'Veon Bell left, don't run it. And frankly, their offensive line has DeCastro, who's great. That guy who's okay, not great. And of all the things they've addressed in Pittsburgh, one thing they haven't in like 3 years is the O-line.
Well, I don't get the shot at Juju. Like, Juju doesn't have anything to do with the game plan, and they're not running the ball as much because they don't have a dynamic running game, and you don't have a great run blocking offensive line. And Ben likes to throw it because they've got great wide receivers. So, like, what's the shot at Juju? I get it, okay, that like that's Juju's an easy target with all that, but like the TikTok thing is getting a little old. Like, he's on TikTok. He's a young guy. You're going to see a whole lot more of that. So just let that wash over you and accept that. That's what guys do now.
The question will be, though, fair or not, is when he was available to the market, and he's got pretty good production in terms of catches, and there was no market for him, the TikTok thing, fair or not, is that now becoming his label, not his catches?
Well, does anyone consider Juju to be a number one receiver?
I think people think of him as a great 2, and now he feels like a 3.
I don't think he's going to be a 3 in Pittsburgh. I think that Juju's brand maybe makes people think he's a different player than he is, which is not Juju's fault. Like, he has a big personality. He has his social media brand. He's a big gamer, and he's a fun guy. Like, he's not a bad guy. I think that this whole thing last year got a little out of control with the, like, oh, he's dancing on the on the logos. Like, yes, so what? Like, if you don't like it, go out and beat them. Which for 11 straight games they didn't.
It doesn't bother me, but Cam had no market. Jameis had no market. Juju had no market.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you can put Cam and Jameis in the same category as Juju. Like, Juju's a low-end 1, high-end 2, and works very well with the Steelers. And part of being with the Steelers has accelerated his brand as well, obviously, because the Steelers are such a big brand. But Cam and Jameis are quarterbacks.
Well, Jameis was seen as immature.
Right, but we don't hold wide receivers to the same standards as we do quarterbacks ever.
If I have to pay him, I'll consider it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I guess I don't see Juju in the same market as a Julio Jones or DeAndre Hopkins or these even Odell Beckham Jr., who are guys that you are going to lean on game after game for high volume.
But how does Adam Humphries and Cole Beasley have a better market than Juju Smith-Schuster? How, as slot receivers, how is that possible?
I'm not saying that the TikTok thing doesn't hurt him. I'm just saying at this point, it's a little played out. I mean, we get it. And as far as like Villanueva goes, like maybe
he had like 1,400 yards a couple years ago and has no market. Like his first year in the league, he was a pop player.
Yeah, I think his reputation is a little bit.
It's moving toward.
It's exaggerated, though.
Yes, it's getting too into social. It's like OBJ. There's a point where it's like, dude, you're almost like get healthy and play because you're great. And sometimes you're fair or not, by the way.
Yeah.
Fair or not. Social media can explode, and it's an avalanche. But I do think with Juju, there's been a move in the last 18 months where it's kind of like people are now talking about the TikTok as much as the football.
Yeah.
Fair or not.
So it's been 13 years since Brett Favre retired and then forced his way out of Green Bay. So he's familiar with the contentious situation and relationship with that team. He recently said he's not optimistic that Aaron Rodgers will return to the Packers. He said, I know Aaron fairly well, and honestly, I just don't see him coming back and just saying, all right, let's just bury the hatchet, whatever caused the rift, and I'm just going to come back and play because I love the guys, I love Green Bay fans. But his rift isn't with the fans or the players. It's with the front office. Will he just swallow his pride and come in? Maybe, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't either. That's not.